This episode brought to you by
Audible. Hey, Audible. Merry Christmas.
audibletrial.com/horror virgin for 30 days free and a book to get you started. For your book recommendation, Mikey?
I recommend
Oh, okay.
How the Grinch Stole Christmas. Walter Matthau reads it.
Walter Matthau?
Yeah.
I just listened to an audio version of A Christmas Carol read by Tim Curry.
Oh.
What?
It was awesome.
Awesome. I love him.
And it's on Audible. So, guys, check out A Christmas Carol and How the Grinch Stole Christmas or whatever, right? On Audible.
Yeah.
All right, now it's time for our batshit insane Patreon shout-outs.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
This episode also brought to you by Nick B.
Hey, Nick B.
Fun fact about Nick B.
Oh, yeah?
He's getting his grandchildren puppies for Christmas.
What?
Whoa, I hope they're not listening right now.
Did we just spoil their Christmas?
Mikey, I think British Christmas is like 3 weeks earlier.
I don't
That's
think
Boxing
that's right.
Day, right?
Oh, sorry.
This episode also brought to you by Matthew
H. Matthew.
Oh, wow. Mikey's look of shock every time he has to come up with a story is amazing.
How many times have we been doing this?
So Matthew
few.
saved Christmas for his brother.
He did?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Oh.
last week, right? And then he got his ear. He lost all hearing in his ear.
Oh, that's right.
This is a new story.
Oh, it's completely different.
This is a different Christmas.
He saved Christmas twice?
Yes.
Wow.
Just like Die Hard.
Yippee-ki-yay, Matthew.
Oh.
So Matthew had to put up his mom's Christmas decorations on
Oh,
top.
what a good son.
Yeah.
I did it too for my mom.
Of course you did.
Well, he had Daniel's brother is scared of heights and refused to help his mother put up decorations.
Oh, yeah? Did he just stand in the snow and heckle Matthew the whole time?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Matthew saved Christmas for his family by being the only one brave enough to put up the lights.
Lock it up, Daniel.
Yeah.
That's why Matthew's the favorite son.
You'll be able to tell by how many presents you get.
This episode also brought to you by Rebecca.
Hey, Rebecca.
Are you ready for this, Rebecca?
I don't know if I am.
Hey, Rebecca. If you were a tree, you'd be an evergreen because I bet you look this good year round.
Oh,
I
nice.
guess that's okay. I'll allow it.
And if you're looking for something to top your Christmas tree head, go to Straight On Tell Disney on Etsy, which is Rebecca's Etsy store. She sells all kind of great Disney stuff.
Yeah, she is.
Check it out.
She's awesome. Hey, Rebecca.
Yeah. This episode also brought to you by Cody Roy.
Cody Roy. He's a time cop.
He's
Cody
always
Roy.
been.
Yeah. So Cody Roy went back in time.
Like he does.
Oh, yeah?
Well,
Being a time cop.
well, since he saw the manger thing,
Right.
he wanted to go back to the Hanukkah stuff.
This sounds very official.
No, he did. He put a time-lapse camera in front of the...
He put a time-lapse camel.
He rode a time-lapse camel. That's how he travels through time.
And he set up a time-lapse camera, and he took video of the 8 nights that the oil lamp burned.
Oh, yeah?
Right?
Yeah.
So it looked just like 8 burning candles?
No, it's one candle,
One
8
burning.
nights.
Oh, sorry.
He went back to get videographic evidence of the candle lasting 8 days.
Oh, yeah. But he time-lapsed it, so it only looks like it lasted like 20 minutes.
Well, he had to get water in that time camel.
That's true.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Watch out, Mikey. They spit. This episode's also brought to you by
Red. Hey, Red.
Red Mappin is scared of the song Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
Oh, yeah?
Why?
Well, he was driving down the road,
Right, like you do.
and he hit a reindeer.
What?
It impaled the car.
Oh, no.
The reindeer tore in two inside of his car because the glass cut it in half. He was covered in blood.
Oh,
What?
yeah?
His own blood or the reindeer's?
The reindeer's blood.
Okay, that's
He's
better.
fine
Well, that's lucky.
physically. Emotionally,
He's a train wreck.
he hears that song and it flashes red of just a deer's head covered in blood.
Mm-hmm.
And that's Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer for him.
This episode also brought to you by Ryan. Yeah, you had to be mean to Ryan.
Being mean to Ryan.
Yep.
But I heard that Ryan likes to make worst of lists of everything. Like worst
God.
holiday cookies.
That's the worst.
I know, man.
Although
Oh.
the Vanity Fair thing that you're referencing right now has gotten so many clicks because everyone's
know.
been. So everyone who's like shaming that thing is just,
They're feeding it.
they're just like making it more profitable for them to have done that.
Right. So congratulations, Ryan.
Yeah, well done, Ryan. This episode also brought to you by Matthew R.
Arr. Yeah.
And we don't quite yet know what he wants us to shout out. So,
Yeah. But we think he might be a pirate.
we think he may or may not be a pirate, I guess. He's very close friends with Johnny Depp.
Ooh.
That's what I've heard.
He had sex with Johnny Depp?
Well, who hasn't?
Me?
Me.
Oh,
That's
now I
just-
feel publicly shamed. So, Matthew R., please reach back out to us on Patreon and let us know what you want us to shout out.
He said he'd most likely reach back out to us in the morning.
Just like the Dread Pirate Roberts.
Ooh, that carry always, man.
Jen, how many guys have told you that?
All of them.
Every guy has told you that?
Yep. The ones that survived did.
21
Tis
level.
the season that you can get it. La 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 la.
That it is. So we're going
Yeah.
to shout out our You Can Get It level.
We are. They got it.
They did get it another month. This month, we're going to start off with, like we normally do, because it's listed alphabetically, Ash,
Ash, hey Ash.
who is wonderful.
She is delightful.
So nice.
She
Yes.
is so nice. You know who else is real nice?
Who?
Eddie.
Eddie. Hey
yeah.
Eddie.
Oh,
Eddie is
yeah.
nice.
Eddie can get it.
Oh yeah.
Technically, all of these people can get it.
Yeah, and they have.
MTV.
MTV.
EMTVEE.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's the name.
I heard he killed the radio star.
Well, that's a true statement. I'm not sure when that happened.
Why would you do that?
Well, because the radio stars were ugly.
That's that's why they're radio stars.
Yeah, exactly. And also Karoon,
Oh, hey, Karu.
whose name we have said correctly more than we've said it incorrectly. So
That's
I think the slate is wiped clean.
Exactly. Is it time to let that joke
Yes,
die?
I think it might be. Karoon, thank you so much. We do have a new one this month.
Somebody else got it?
Somebody else did get it.
Whoa.
And she got it for her husband.
Oh, wow.
So Kayla reached out after she signed up for that level and said, hey, will you shout out my husband, Aaron?
Oh.
So Aaron,
Well, how sweet.
you should, love your wife a little bit more
Whoa.
because of this. I didn't mean like sexually.
You think they can
I didn't mean sexually either.
Oh.
Sounds like they might be getting it after this ad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And last but not least, because I'm just reading it alphabetically, Veronica.
Veronica. Hey,
Yeah.
Veronica.
She's actually our second longest tenured.
Oh, yeah?
You can get it
Oh,
level.
cool.
Yeah, Eddie is the longest by far. I think
Yeah.
he signed up day one.
Yeah.
And then Veronica. Yeah. So thank you guys so much for being
Yes.
awesome. All of you guys and really everyone on Patreon. Thank you so much
Thank
for supporting the
you.
show. We appreciate
Yeah.
it.
I hear the theme music on top of the house. Do you hear it?
Uh-oh.
Oh my God. It doesn't sound like sleighs.
No, it doesn't.
Does it sound?
It sounds like it's going to slay.
I've been bad this year.
Oh,
Yeah, you have.
I wished you guys away. How much flesh you got out there?
That's not a question you can ask a woman.
Welcome to the
No,
horror.
no. Not on my watch.
That is where Todd draws the line. Welcome to the Horror Virgin, everyone.
my
I'm
God.
Jen, and that joke was redacted.
I'm Mikey. I did not make that joke.
Did I make the joke? Oh, okay. Jen made the joke.
It was a Jen Mikey collaboration.
And I'm your horror virgin, Todd, which means I don't like scary movies, but you guys, and this week when I say you guys, I mean the listeners,
Yeah, listeners.
make me watch them. This week, you guys made me watch the Adam Scott cardigan vehicle, Krampus.
Oh my gosh.
It sold so many cardigans.
He's so hot.
Yes, he is.
Mikey, I get it.
Woo.
I'm not like super on board like you. I mean, I think he's cool.
He's
He
no
is
Ryan
cool.
Reynolds, but he's great.
My list to turn is very short, but he is number one.
Oh, yeah. My list to turn. That's great. I get it, though. Yeah, I mean, on board for Ryan Reynolds. Is this the first time you guys have seen this movie,
No, I saw it a couple of years ago.
Mikey?
Same. I think I rented it at
Yeah.
Christmas a couple of years ago.
It did come out 4 years ago, so that
Yeah.
makes sense.
I avoided it when it first came out because I heard it wasn't that great.
Me
and then
too.
I rented it.
This is the first time I have seen it, and it was fine. I mean, it wasn't super scary, but the trailer really scared me.
Oh, really?
I thought it was going to be like a super scary Christmas movie, and it wasn't that it wasn't scary because I'm scared by sort of everything, but it just was not as bad as
True.
the trailer made me think it was going to be. So for that, I was grateful.
Well, and so I liked it a lot more today than I did the first time I watched it or the
Oh, yeah?
first or second time I watched it. Yeah. And I think part of it is because you're right. I think it presents a lot of really scary situations and doesn't always resolve them in
Yeah.
ways that I love. But so once I knew how it was going to resolve, I could just kind of get over what was going to happen and just enjoy how creepy everything looked and just kind of have fun with it, because I wasn't so invested in how everything was going to turn out.
Yeah, but if you ever wondered, like, what would happen if the Griswold's family Christmas happened at the grocery store from The Mist, this is that movie.
That's true. I was thinking about The Mist.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I liked it less this viewing.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Did you see that cardigan?
I did. I think the movie I wanted was like either you go straight up Christmas Vacation, like parody horror, or, and this movie had you're right, a lot of good visuals, a lot of creepy effects.
Yeah.
It could have been really scary. You have to go one way or the other, or like do it really well, the balance, and it was not.
So you either wanted it to be a lot funnier, or you wanted Adam Scott to shoot every member of his family in that bulldozer at the end. Oh
Not
my
Adam
God.
Scott, and then get out and say Santa.
If you guys haven't seen The Mist, you don't get that.
Oh yeah,
Watch
sorry,
The
but
Mist.
we just spoiled it for you.
Right.
So.
I think Christmas horror has like a weird line to walk. I think Gremlins does it really well.
It does.
And this movie it doesn't do it well.
I can see that. It does sort of play a weird middle ground.
Yeah.
I didn't dislike it, though.
I really liked it a lot, and we'll talk about it as we go through it.
Speaking of that, let's get into this fucking movie.
Can we please? So we start in a mall, and apparently it's Black Friday because people are just busting the doors down and running and trampling all over people. And I really liked this part. I think it was a really,
Did you?
Yeah, it was
Okay.
like very like black humor satire of like the consumerism of Christmas and like what it actually is, you know?
You mean what Christmas actually is? Yeah, that's fair.
Right,
And they do hit that really hard. The thing that really bothered me is why the fuck was there a Christmas pageant happening at a retail location?
When I was in show choir, I've sung in a couple of malls.
Listen, I have been in show choir as well, and if you would
If you
like,
listen to our
subscribe to our podcast, Cumberbuns and Character Shoes.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. I had friends in high school, so let me tell you.
I had friends too. They were show choir people, but they were still nice.
That was the only thing that I thought was weird.
Yeah.
I also like all of those incidents are like way overblown. It's like the war on Christmas isn't real. Like so is Black Friday trampling.
Well, then now Black Friday's not even much of a thing because of online shopping.
Right.
Well, and it also starts on Thanksgiving now.
Yeah.
Like it starts at 6 o'clock on Thanksgiving.
But it was for a while, and this was
No,
2015.
it was 2015. Yeah.
So we're seeing this really kind of dark and ugly scene in the mall. And I think one of the things that I liked about this movie that I like more this time is this year I just am not really that into Christmas. And I'm kind of like just for some family stuff going on. So I like the darker element, you know, and I like kind of looking behind and seeing the dark side because the reality is like not everybody has family that makes them happy on Christmas. And I like that we see that in this movie and it kind of made me feel a little bit better
That
about
is
where
like
I
a
am,
central
you know?
element of the movie.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to go see my family on Christmas. I'd imagine that if I did show up, it would be a lot like this for them.
Why are you the cousin Eddie?
Well, because the shitter's full.
The bullshitter's full.
All that to say, like I think I enjoyed it more this year because it's a little darker and that had hit me wrong last year, but this year I was into it and I was like, yeah, man.
It's actually really funny because I'm super cynical and negative usually, and then everybody at work's like, Christmas Michael is the best Michael.
He is. Honestly, Michael,
Who's Michael?
Go back to my stage
That's Christmas
name.
Michael.
No one knows who I am.
Christmas is the one time a year we get to call you by your
I do
actual
like
name.
that at Christmas you are Christmas Michael, but the
Right.
rest of the year when you're cynical, it's like Mikey.
Yeah.
This is now canon.
All right, well, I'm Christmas Michael. And welcome to the podcast, motherfuckers. Merry Christmas.
So we're seeing people running and getting trampled. We're seeing people get tasered by mall cops.
Right, because mall cops are allowed to carry weapons.
Right. And so now we see the nativity scene at the mall for some reason.
Right, and we see a kid on top of another kid punching that kid, and
Yeah.
you see Adam Scott and his wife,
Tony Collette.
Tony Collette, a slow-mo running to break up the fight. Yeah.
Yeah.
So now we get back to the house and we see Grandma making 1,000,000 cookies. And
Yeah.
this is when we hear the news talking about the war on Christmas.
Right, and it's honestly, it's not really a thing. It's like a
It's not.
small TV in the kitchen that's on, and
Yeah.
I think they either turn it off or we just focus on the grandma talking as the kid walks in. The kid who was in the fight, right?
Yeah,
but the
Max.
whole kitchen is covered in like
Christmas
sweets
stuff.
and Yeah, it's not just cookies, but it's
like,
like everything Christmas.
Cookies that take a while to make, too.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
she's got lots of different shapes.
Gingerbread man.
Right.
Grandma prescribes to the Hallmark level of Christmas celebration.
Yeah.
She does. And then Adam Scott just walks in and says, "Don't spend too much trouble, Mom. She already got a bunch from the store.
Yeah, she
like
already
I
bought
didn't
some
just spend
cookies.
all fucking day making all these cookies. You see right here.
If you look at that kitchen, there's conservatively enough cookies and sweets for a family of 35.
Yeah.
And there's 8 of them. So, like, you don't need to buy cookies.
Right.
What are you doing? That's a waste of money.
I think she was just worried that the mom wouldn't make it.
She gives Adam Scott the biggest eat shit and die look.
She
Yes.
really does, yeah.
It's amazing.
My mom makes a ton of cookies. I help too.
Oh, do you?
But yeah, I do.
You
yeah.
help on the chewing up and swallowing side.
No, I help.
Oh, you help make
Are you
them.
the taste
Okay.
tester?
Christmas Michael helps. And then I also lick the beaters when she's mixing the dough.
Oh, I bet you do, Mike.
Oh, Christmas Michael's job is to make a bigger
Make it
mess.
fun.
It's not sexual.
All right, so the family's getting home and they're all mad at Max because he started that fight in the Christmas pageant.
Yeah.
And he's feeling kind of bad because he might have ruined it for some little kids. And
Well, no, he's
No, the
not
other
feeling
guy,
bad.
yeah.
He's feeling great because he defended Christmas's honor to the other kid who
true.
was like saying Christmas wasn't real or whatever. So that's why he got in the fight. He was defending Christmas.
Yeah, he said he didn't want little kids to find out from that other kid, so he tried to fight him. And then his dad was like, "Well, did you have to leg drop him?"
he was like, yeah, man.
Yeah.
This is serious.
What
But
to do
I
with
applaud
trigger
him
warning?
defending the spirit of Christmas.
Yeah, he was just defending the truth about Christmas
And Santa.
that they're
It's
real.
all real.
Winky
Yeah.
blinky.
So he's wanting to do a bunch of fun Christmas stuff with his family, but they all have stuff to do. Like Adam
The
Scott
kid is, yeah.
Adam Scott's got to go do hot work, and the mom wants
Hot
to go.
work.
Like accounting.
Anything he does is going to be hot. Hey, look, accounting is super hot. So, anyways, Adam Scott has to go be super hot in another room. Toni Collette has to hang a picture on the wall.
She's also
Are you
getting
okay?
ready for the family to come.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Did you see when she hung that picture? After she hung it, she noticed that Santa was checking out her daughter.
Right.
Underage daughters.
Right.
Yes.
Behind
Right.
area.
Yeah, you should not do that anyway. But also, you look at pictures before you hang them, right?
Yeah. Or before you order copies of them.
That's fair too.
Yeah, but I think she may have just been really stressed out and just.
That's what it is.
She's like, I just got to get this picture. But I think this kind of is showing like she cares about the superficial things of Christmas rather than like what's underneath.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Counterpoint. Who frames any Christmas photo?
People that put a lot of importance on doing the same thing every year.
And if you noticed, that was like the
Really?
5th in the sequence. Yeah.
So now Max is talking to the grandmother whose name is Omi. Probably German for grandma.
It probably is. And she does speak German.
Mm-hmm.
She does speak some English too, but
She speaks fluent English later.
yeah, but I
She
mean,
just doesn't want to.
yeah.
Right.
So Max has written a letter to Santa Claus and he's asking Omi if she still believes in Santa.
Yes.
And she says some stuff in German that I missed.
She said Christmas spirit kind of stuff.
Yeah, that Santa does exist in so much as that he exists in the spirit of the holiday and that sort of thing.
Right.
Max hadn't finished writing the letter to Santa though.
Right, yeah.
Because he's very frustrated with his family's lack of Christmas
Yes.
spirit.
Mm-hmm.
I find your lack of cheer disturbing.
Disturbing.
But yeah,
Right.
Opa, or whatever her name
Omi.
is, Omi. Omi, the grandma, is sort of encouraging him to finish the note to Santa and
Right.
send it. Yeah.
Mhm. The mom and daughter are arguing because we find out the extended family's coming in, and they are
Yes.
basically like the cousin Eddie family
Yes.
of Christmas Vacation.
Yeah.
And she said like she found shit in her bed last
Actual
time.
human shit,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
believe were the words. Yeah.
Which may have been dog shit. That's what the theory is. But still, you don't want either one of those things.
You don't.
No.
Speaking as someone who's had both in their beds, they're very
Ew.
similar. I had a friend of the family who had a baby come over, and they were changing a baby on my bed.
Oh.
Well,
And,
that's different.
That's actual human shit,
It's
though.
still
Mikey.
shit.
It's true, but that's like a loophole.
The poop hole, loophole.
There's difference between a baby accidentally diaper changing poop on your bed between like a full grown adult male
Oh yeah, no, I agree
squatting down to
completely.
shit in your bed.
I agree completely. That is a huge power move.
It's like
yeah.
murder in the first degree,
Yeah.
manslaughter differences here.
There-
Okay.
yeah.
Well, Merry Christmas, everybody. So the sister's talking to the boyfriend, and the entire house starts shaking.
Yeah, they're like FaceTiming. She's just lamenting about the extended family coming over, and he's like,
Right.
ha ha ha, pot. And then it cuts to like the room shaking, and then it cuts to Adam Scott in his office shaking. And it's really just the family, the extended family arriving in a
Right.
big truck, I guess.
It's
Yeah.
a Hummer age too.
Oh, it is.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Okay. But it's so big it causes earthquakes.
Right.
it is.
Yeah.
And everybody is stressed out. Nobody wants this family to come because they're very stressful. And Toni Collette's like, ugh, and then opens the door and she's got this big smile on her face. And I feel your pain, Toni Collette.
That reminded me very vividly of my mom yelling at my brother and me for running through the house, and then the phone rang, and she was like, "Stop running through the house!" house. Hello.
Yep. I feel like every mom has been there.
I'm sure. And listen, I'm not saying I wasn't giving my mom reason to scream at me. I'm just saying she was able to switch modes very quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the family's coming in, and it's Todd Packer from The Office. He was also an anchorman.
Yeah. I mean, he's been in a lot of stuff.
He has,
You recognize him. Yeah.
And I love him because I hate him so much in everything.
Yeah, he plays that annoying guy.
He is
in
a
every movie.
like bit part person who's very good at playing that guy.
Yep. Yeah, just kind of riding that line between lovable and I hate him because he's so much of an asshole.
But let's call him Packer because
Yeah.
that's who he is. Yeah.
And Allison Tolman, who's been in a bunch of stuff, and we love her. She was in Castle Rock.
She
And
plays
was
Packer's
amazing.
wife.
Yeah,
Right.
she plays Packer's
Yeah.
wife. And then we've got their 3 kids. And the
4.
baby they left in the car.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
That- Sorry, that whole exchange also happens in the movie
It does,
where we
yeah.
meet the first 3 kids and then they're like, oh, yeah, the baby's still in the car. Yeah.
But so they're just real stressful right off the bat, and they're kind of making their snide little comments. And Todd
Yeah.
Packer like dumps a bunch of presents on Adam Scott, and they hand her a macaroni with hot dogs or something, which is so unsophisticated. And Toni Collette can't have it in her fancy Christmas.
But also, they drive a Hummer. So, like, how unwell off is this family?
Yeah, she even says at one point, well, why don't we have Christmas at your trailer next year?
Well, she says that to Aunt Dorothy.
Aunt
Oh,
Dorothy.
okay.
Yeah,
Aunt
who-
Dorothy may have been in a trailer.
She
Yeah,
might
that's fair.
have. And surprise, Aunt Dorothy is there.
Right, because they didn't know Aunt Dorothy was coming, and
Yeah.
Toni Collette hates Aunt Dorothy.
Which
And
we'll find out why almost immediately.
Yeah.
She's an alcoholic.
And not very nice.
Yeah, she's very.
And also, surprised, they brought a dog.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, that's fine, right? You don't have a cat, right?
Right.
And they don't, so it's not really that big of a deal, but
yeah,
it's still
but that's
sort of a
not
dick
something you can
move.
talk about beforehand or anything, right?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, it is sort of a dick move.
But that dog is awesome.
The
And
dog is pretty awesome.
Sort of a
Cute.
hero.
It's
yeah.
not
cute.
snots. There are the 2 girl cousins who are all pissed off because the Steelers lost. And then
Right.
there's the boy cousin who I don't think he talks through the entire music.
I think he
movie.
has 1 or 2 lines.
Yeah, and I think he's the little boy in Trick or Treat. The one where they decorate his head.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about, but I honestly don't know.
yeah, this kid in this movie is just fat boy stereotype.
Which he was in Trick or Treat, if that is the same
Yeah.
one.
Right.
Yeah, same guy.
So yeah, this family is just very out of place, and the family, like the Adam Scott family, is not happy to see him, and it's just real uncomfortable immediately.
Yeah, it's like when you're hanging out with your family.
Yeah.
Because you grow up with your siblings, and Toni Collette and Packer's wife, Miss Packer, are sisters, right?
Right,
So
yes,
that's
they are.
like the familial connection. But they're very, very different people and probably haven't hung out much since they lived in the same house.
Right.
So it's not that they're strangers. They just don't really know each other as adults.
Right.
And they don't really love where they've ended up.
Well, I actually like their like out of all of the people from their relationships, the best. Like you can tell that they got along growing up.
They have
and
like a loving family relationship, but Toni Collette hates Miss Packer's family.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I want to say too, like, I love my family and they're great. But I think one of the things we see in this movie is you can still love your family and also be really stressed out by them.
So yeah, families can suck sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and part of it too is like when it's a Christmas visit, like you want it to be happy and there's like all these expectations of having like this good picture perfect Christmas. And that's just really hard to maintain when there are like underlying things you haven't resolved, you know?
Right.
And that's what tends to
Communication.
stress me out a lot about my Christmases.
That was just because you're forced to spend time with these people, and
Yeah.
you're like, I don't think we have a good boundary with these people, and like I don't want them to be here, or I don't want to be here. I don't want to be exposed to this.
Right, but I still am supposed to open this present and be really happy right,
But my
now.
mom's making me go, so whatever.
The good thing about my life, like I'm not going to Christmas this year because I don't want to see some people that are going to be there. So I'm at a place where I don't have to be there, which is nice.
Well, one of the things we've been focusing on this year is like me and Corey and our family, like making our own new traditions, you know, because when you grow and change some of the things you've been doing for your entire life, like hanging this picture from the mall on your wall, doesn't make sense anymore, you know, and that's
Yeah.
when it's time to let it go and start like looking at what you actually want to do on Christmas.
Yeah,
you know?
and you should start doing that.
Exactly.
And if you don't love your family, find a new family.
Yeah, you really are not. You don't have to spend time with anybody.
No,
you
you
don't
do
want
not.
to.
Well,
no.
Jen, and your husband and your kids are like your number one priority.
Exactly.
So I mean, like no one can second guess that.
Well, yeah, no, I know.
Right.
It just so what we're saying is, if you're lonely and having a sad Christmas, we hear you, and some
Yeah.
of us feel that too, and we love you.
Just
and
tell your
you're
family to
great.
listen to this podcast, and you don't have to have the conversation.
Well, you know, my
And then just
family
don't show up.
doesn't care.
Wear Where the fuck are we in this movie?
Yeah. So the family just got here and stressed everybody out, including Jenn.
Yeah, the
All right.
extended family. Yeah.
And so Aunt Dorothy is here and immediately just.
She's the worst.
Yeah.
She's like, where's that eggnog? I need some jollies.
Yeah.
And looking at all this beautiful decoration that says it looks like Martha Stewart threw up in here. And
It does sort of look like that.
It
though.
really does.
You
yeah.
shut your whore mouth.
I mean, it looked great. I'll say
It
that.
really did. Yeah. And if that's something you're into, that's great. Like
Yeah.
some people really love decorating for
Michael,
Christmas.
I love decorating. I
Yeah.
decorated everything at the office, and I hung garland from everything like that. But if someone came in and was like, it looked like Martha Stewart threw up in here, I'd punch him in the face.
That's when Christmas Michael becomes Mikey.
Yeah. I like decorating. We just can't always do it. But we still have Christmas. Christmas still happens even if you don't have everything matching and everything
Yeah,
hanging
it's
up in the
a
right way.
day.
Yeah, and so it's dinner time, and I feel Toni Collette's pain in this
Yeah,
movie
because
so
she couldn't
much.
make a ham
Dude.
like an idiot.
Well, and I feel like part of what she likes to do is run a dinner party and like make all of this fancy stuff. And I think that's how she's kind of like feeling like she's giving a gift
Yeah.
to her family.
She
and
went
that's
above
great.
and beyond.
She really
Yeah.
did. She made them individual creme brulees. That's amazing. And all they're doing
That
is
is amazing.
shitting on it.
I was super not happy that blowtorch did not come back
Oh,
in some
yeah.
way during the fights.
Yeah, I wanted to flame some of those gingerbread
That would have
men.
been awesome.
Yeah. And I feel like if that's something that you choose to do, that's great. But if like you're doing that out of like your family is expecting you to put on this meal and everything be perfect, then that's when it starts to get toxic.
I also don't think they were expecting her to do that.
I don't think so
That's just something
either.
that she likes to do. Which
Yeah.
I'm not saying shame on her for wanting to do something nice for her
Right.
family. It's still something nice for her family.
It's just her Christmas love language didn't match up with their Christmas love
That
language.
is exactly what I'm getting at. Yeah, because she wanted to do something that they didn't recognize because they were just unhappy it wasn't a ham and mac and cheese.
Exactly.
Right? That sounds like I'm saying she put that on herself, which I guess on some level she did, but she did
Well,
it because
yeah.
she loves them and wants them to be happy.
Right.
Or does she feel an expectation to have everything look a certain way?
Well, I think she feels that expectation, but I think she also wants to create a nice space to have Christmas.
Yeah.
But I do think that that's sort of her
I think
priority.
it's debatable. I don't think we could get enough into her character to know, but I think Jen's got
Yeah,
a
I think
point. I
so.
think it's like she wants the perfect Christmas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or is it that's how she does a love thing? It may have been both,
Yeah.
but
Yeah,
it could
we
be
don't go in depth enough, which is one of the things I don't like about the movie.
The
Yeah.
daughter does say at one point that she just wants this for her pictures.
Yeah, she wants
Because
to
she
look
wants her
like we
pictures.
had the perfect Christmas.
Exactly.
And I have tried to create those perfect holidays, and you just can't do it.
You know what's more fun? Pictures that shit's going crazy and you're just
Exactly.
having a good time.
Actually enjoying your holiday.
Yeah, that's
you
more
know?
fun.
So there's so much passive aggressiveness in this dinner because Todd Packer's shaming Adam Scott for being an Eagle Scout, which
Yeah.
being an Eagle Scout is really hard and a huge accomplishment.
Well,
I mean, that's
speaking
debatable.
as someone who went through the scout program, it is difficult.
Are
but
you an
it-
Eagle Scout?
No, I dropped out because my stepdad, who I hated, became the scoutmaster, and I was
Oh.
like, "Fuck this, I'm out," and I'm moving.
So you only
So-
got your Cardinal Scout.
I became Life Scout.
Oh.
Which is like 2 or 3 rungs below. I love the scouting program though, but
Yeah.
it's not like super difficult to get badges and stuff.
Well, no, but getting your Eagle Scout is like
It's an
a lot of work.
accomplishment, sure.
I trade all those badges in for friends.
I mean, he's not wrong, Jen.
I'm not an Eagle Scout. I have lots of friends in show choir.
But
Todd couldn't be an Eagle Scout and a show choir person.
I had to drop out. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
had to pick one or the other.
Weren't you in marching band too?
I had to hone it down to only 2 reasons I don't have friends, and I chose show choir and marching band.
You really shoehorned yourself
Listen, man,
young back there.
I was the only one willing to shoehorn me.
Oh. So Todd Packer's an asshole, and they're talking about guns, and
Right.
And I noticed they peppered in a little bit of the like politics of 2015.
Oh yeah,
in
they
here.
definitely did.
Then Aunt Dorothy was like, "Why are we having ham? What is
Exactly.
this fancy smancy stuff?"
And
This
honestly,
fancy stuff that tastes delicious.
listen, I love ham and mac and cheese. I love those things. But I wouldn't be like, why'd you waste your time making this delicious food?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for inviting me into your house.
Absolutely.
I hate everything about it.
I could have just stayed at home
Exactly.
with my Stouffer's mac and cheese at my trailer.
Yeah.
Like, she's the worst.
Yeah. So now it's dessert time. And I do love that she tells Aunt Dorothy off because Aunt Dorothy's coming in and just giving her shit about that. And she's saying, well, maybe we could go to your trailer and complain about everything in your bullshit life.
But this is like the start of the family full on fighting. Because
Exactly.
when she goes, and by she, I mean Toni Collette, because the aunt's not going to get up and do anything to help, actually. So Toni Collette goes into the kitchen to flame on the creme brulees.
I fucking love creme brulee.
They're so good,
That
man.
is good.
Yeah. Anyway, so as Toni Collette goes into flame on the creme brulee,
Right.
this is when the girls of Packer steal his Santa note
Right.
and they start reading it.
well, first they're picking on him about like, you still believe in Santa? That's really childish.
Right.
That's because they have the note already.
Right.
You're right. They stole
saw
it earlier.
sticking out of his
You're
pocket.
right.
Uh-huh.
And they pull it out. They're like, you wrote a note to Santa. Let's read it out
Right.
loud.
And the
Yep.
note is super nice.
It
Like
really
he asks
is.
nothing for himself other than I want Christmases to be like they used to be.
Yeah.
It's a very sweet letter. Like he's
It
like,
is.
It is.
I want my mom and dad to fall in love again.
Yeah, I think they just miss each other.
Right. And
Right.
I miss being in town with my sister and being close with her. I want things to be less hard for my uncle's family.
Yeah.
And my
Right.
cousin, and I wish, my cousins were better.
Yeah.
And it's really honest. And like, I think this family thinks they're being honest. And Aunt Dorothy actually says that. But this is what it actually is. It's
Yeah.
like, I just see everybody's just kind of hurting a little bit. And I just wish they wouldn't be, you know?
Yeah, that's the true meaning of Christmas.
It is.
It is, yeah.
But I'll say that this kid, who's probably like 11 or 12, he has insights that take to like year 3 of therapy to
Right.
get to.
He's very empathetic.
Yeah, he has missed his calling at his young age.
So Stevie is reading this letter, and the last thing that it says is
That's one of
that-
Packer's daughters, right?
Right, Packer's
okay.
daughters. Like, apparently, if she doesn't actually read what it says, but she's like, "Fuck you, Dad doesn't wish we were boys."
I do love that
Yeah.
because they are both dressed in full-on camo.
They are, yeah.
I still straight up thought they were boys until this scene.
Yeah.
I
Well,
mean,
and-
that's fair, I think.
And one of the things I like about this movie that I think about a lot is that it shows different ways of being a girl, you know? So we got the sister who's very girly and talking to her boyfriend, and then the girls who from the other family who are really into like their other thing. But I think
Wrestling and football
Exactly.
and yeah.
The
Into
dad
not-
was kind of pushing them.
Well,
that
and that's
way,
the thing that
which
I
is
don't
weird.
like about
Right.
it. And also it's painted as negative.
Right.
You know? And I think that it looks like they don't, I don't know if they would actually choose that, which is kind of what Toni Collette's doing. Like, I don't know if she actually wants to be this perfect mom or if that's what she feels like she has to be.
I think it's the
'cause
latter.
If you're a girl who likes wrestling, that's great. Go
Yeah.
for it. If you like to watch football, do it. But don't do it because you feel like you have to fit this
Well,
role.
Packard talks
you
about
know?
his kids like training them up to be athletes or whatever. But it's like they have no choice in the matter.
Exactly.
So I think it's less about their choice of like what to be as a woman or as
Yeah.
a guy, and then
Yeah.
it's like more of like my dad wants me to do this.
I got the vibe that it was they were being pushed into it. But
I do
that,
too.
I mean, I don't really know that they go
But
into it
being
enough
pushed
to know.
into something can look very different too, because a lot of times it's not I want you to play football. It's very subtle things that kids pick up on.
Yeah, absolutely. So he may not be doing it cognizantly, but
Exactly.
he's just doing it because he loves football, and his kids are getting into it because they want their
because
dad's
he was like,
attention.
I'm feeding him a lot, so he'll be the biggest kid in the state.
Well, that was for the boy, yeah.
Yeah.
But,
But
I mean, you're still right. That's
Right.
the same as pushing, and he might be doing the same sort of thing for his daughter.
I think he said some stuff about his girls in wrestling.
They were.
Yeah.
They were like, he was telling them, you call that a reversal?
Right.
Later
So
on in the
so
movie.
I think
So
he's just
absolutely,
he's
yeah.
overtly pressuring them.
Yeah. The best thing I ever did was decide that it's okay that I don't like sports. That opened up a whole new world of just me being okay with like being a straight dude that loves musicals and doesn't give a shit who wins the Super Bowl.
Yeah, man.
I walk a weird line because I like playing sports. But
I love playing sports
I don't like
too.
watching sports.
Exactly. Thank you.
Oh, I do.
That's fine.
Yeah, you like.
Yeah,
you love watching
you're the
sports.
only one of the podcast that is involved currently in a fantasy football
Yeah.
team.
In the fucking playoffs, man.
Damn
Yeah.
right. For me, the fantasies I partake in have happy endings.
Mine
But-
aren't.
I did start.
So yours are more realistic.
Yeah, there's like I'm just happy to be here.
All right, so Max now attacks Stevie, who's been reading this letter.
Yeah, there's like a arms race of food fighting going
Right,
on,
yeah.
and then he does just come around the table and they start fighting.
Yeah. So now this is like the Kevin McAllister scene in Home Alone too, because they're all staring at him, and he didn't really do anything wrong. They were being dicks.
Yeah, they were being horrible to him.
Right. And so, I mean, I don't think that his family is really mad at him. I think they're kind of upset and also stunned by all the truth that just came out.
Yeah, because
you know?
everyone except for Toni Collette heard because she
Right.
was in the kitchen, but everyone else heard this letter.
Yeah, and so she walks in while this fight is going on.
She's like, "What the fuck is happening?"
Exactly.
Yeah.
Here's my creme brulee.
Brulee.
And so Max is saying, I hate all of you and I hate Christmas and I want you all to go away.
Yeah.
And so he runs upstairs to his room.
Yes. And this is where he contemplates sending his Santa note or ripping it up and throwing it out the window to get sucked up to the moon.
And then he
Right.
says, like, does he say it again? Like, I wish they'd all go away or whatever.
I think he
He
does.
does.
Yeah.
He says, I want to make my family disappear.
Oh.
He doesn't actually say that. But
It is
I mean,
kinda
he
like
might as
that,
well.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But before that happens, Adam Scott comes in and teaches us all a very valuable lesson about how to wear a cardigan.
Oh my God! If you think I was not on H&M's website while I was watching this scene looking for that cardigan, you were wrong.
We had to pause
man.
the movie so I could mop up the floor after this scene.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, this is in gross.
I did hose y'all off.
Well,
Listen, I am man enough to admit when another man is rocking a cardigan.
That's right. We got the wet
Man.
dry back over here. I'm keeping the pod lock clean from y'all's weird celebrity crushes.
and so he's talking about like your family and how it's important, and we just put up with them because that's what we do. And I
Yeah.
don't have a good answer for it, but it's just like because that's what your family is.
Yeah.
Which is kind of.
Bullshit.
It is and it's not, you know? I mean, it's up to you to decide what you want your relationship with your family to be.
Absolutely.
But
But
I was-
you have control.
I have members in my family that I don't speak to.
Yeah.
And I'm not hurt by that at all. It's a decision I've made because they are not welcome in my life anymore.
Yeah.
And my life is so much better because of that. You're allowed to set boundaries.
Yeah,
You
so from a
are.
therapy perspective, boundaries are important.
Yes.
And are very hard, and everyone has different levels and they
Yeah.
change.
And it's okay if you're not ready to set those boundaries yet.
Yeah, I'm not shaming people who haven't done that. I'm just
Right.
saying that
But
it's
they are an
okay
option.
to do
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
But so he shoots his Santa letter off to the moon.
But that, he rips it up and then
He
shoots
does,
it up to
yeah,
the
yeah.
moon.
And this is when we started talking about what happened to all the letters to Santa, and I have a fun Santa fun fact about
Oh, yeah?
where
Can
the
we go
letters
now? Do it now.
I am, yeah, I wrote it in here. So I don't know where all the letters go, but I know there's an address somewhere in Brooklyn that gets a bunch of random Santa letters every year. Like they just get 400 or 500.
Really?
Yeah, and they think there's a great podcast, The Illusionist, on this. But they think it's because the person who wrote the Night Before Christmas used to live on that block. And so people would send letters to them. And so they try to fulfill them. They set up this charity to try to like.
Really?
It's awesome.
That
yeah,
is
like,
awesome.
He said they got a letter from a kid who wanted a bed. Because he
Oh.
was, I know, and so they bought him a bed. It was, and like
That's
people have
awesome.
moved in and out of that house, and they've kept the tradition. All right, so the second the pieces of this letter flies out the window, we see dark clouds rolling in,
Literally.
and we see a blizzard start, and we see like things like the little lights twinkling, but not in a good way.
No, like
In
they
a-
go out. The
in
lights
an
go
evil
out.
way,
Yeah.
and house by house starts to go out, and I like how
Blackout.
they, yeah, but it's like their Christmas lights too. It's really cool. So Max wakes up, and there's a giant, terrifying snowman in the yard. And
It is very ominous.
It really is.
It looks like a great snowman, but it is
Yeah.
a scary looking snowman.
Yeah, I like the
bent arms.
The bent arms down like a scarecrow, but with
Yeah.
a snowman.
It looks like there's a terrifying monster inside that snow just waiting.
A
Yes.
snow crow.
Watching. A snow crow. The power's out and the mom is super stressed because there are a million people in their house. Half of them are terrible and they don't have hot water, they don't have phones, they don't have lights, and there's a blizzard out.
Right. And Adam Scott does check the phone and it's like the phone's even out.
Exactly. Yeah.
Which,
yeah.
if you still have a landline phone, they actually work when your power's out normally.
yeah,
would just
unless
be-
the lines go down.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, and they said that their neighbors are all out of town, like home alone. They mentioned a noodle incident, which is a reference to Calvin and Hobbes.
Is it?
It is, yeah. They mention a noodle incident in Calvin and Hobbes, but they never say what it is.
But yeah, so this is when the daughter of Tony Collette and Adam Scott's like, hey, let me go check on my boyfriend. He's only
Right.
4 blocks away. I'll just go check and I'll come back.
right.
And
Because
they
I've
sort
texted
of-
him 7 times and it's been 3 minutes and he hasn't responded yet, and that's not normal.
That's not normal, guys.
It's not normal. Then you got to check on people like that.
Yeah, so she goes to do her welfare check and they reluctantly let her go.
They do, yeah, because teen's got a teen, you know?
Right.
And so while she's out there, a delivery man comes up to the door and gives them something. We don't really see what
It's
it
just
is.
a package, yeah.
Right, but we see 2 evil-looking packages on the door, and we don't know where they came from.
One's a Santa sack.
Yeah,
Right.
must have been the guys in brown.
So anyway, the packages come, the daughter leaves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and she's walking to the boyfriend's house.
Yeah.
And
I would be okay in this blackout. I think I would just be playing with that cute baby.
yeah,
And then
drinking hot
reading.
chocolate.
Yeah, and then we're drinking hot chocolate.
Because
By
Grandma
candlelight.
making hot chocolate in the fireplace.
Because hot chocolate makes everything
and
better.
that's what she says. It
Yeah.
makes everything better. Now, I offer a counterpoint.
Make it
Hot
too.
apple cider is what actually makes everything better.
Right.
But that's not true. It's really hot chocolate.
Yeah,
She
hot
had-
chocolate's much
She
better.
had marshmallows and chocolate, extra chocolate to go into the hot chocolate.
Holy
can't
shit,
eat
marshmallows
marshmallows
in hot
anymore.
chocolate. So the family's drinking hot chocolate.
And
The-
everything's better now.
right. The daughter is walking to her boyfriend's
She's walking
house.
down the street, and it's a frozen hellscape.
Yes, it is.
And
sh-
now it's dark.
well, it's getting darker. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's still not quite dark. It's
that
more like dusk.
stupid daylight savings time.
Yeah,
think
man. It's fucking 4:28 right now, and the sun is down.
I feel like it's midnight.
I think they just exist in the rare exports universe. Where it gets dark when it's convenient for the plot.
Plot-driven light devices.
Yeah.
I feel like that's how my life's going. That's why it's dark all the time.
Oh, yeah. My soul lives in the rare exports universe.
Once the winter solstice passes, we'll get more daylight, Mikey, and your life will get better.
Yeah.
Oh
You
my
sound
God.
like my horoscope.
Well, I mean, those are all facts, though. The winter
are.
solstice exists.
Wait, my life's really going to get better?
No, that was the lie. But the daughter's walking down the street and she sees a hooded figure.
She does.
Jumping from rooftop to rooftop.
Yeah.
It's
Krampus.
Yeah.
But she doesn't know what it is yet.
She has no idea.
Yeah, because we haven't had the grandma exposition dump yet.
Right. So she screams and runs away, and
Yeah.
Krampus starts jumping from rooftop to rooftop.
Yeah, and it is really creepy.
It is really creepy, but you would think if he was wanting to close the distance between him and her, he'd run at her.
Yeah.
It's almost like he can't step on ground. He can only step on a rooftop.
It's because she was like, the floor is lava.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and that makes it real. So he
The
can't
snow is
step
lava.
on. Yeah, the snow's lava, except unless that snow was on a rooftop.
Yeah.
Loophole.
If you believe it's true.
Anyway.
I think Krampus just wants to fuck with her, though.
Oh, I think he is. Yeah. And she runs towards the DHL truck.
does,
Because sponsorship money was paid.
Yes.
And so she gets under that truck when she realizes the driver is now frozen to death.
He's terror frozen.
And then you hear a big, yeah. And Krampus walks around with his hooves.
He does. Hooves and chains, too.
I 1000% thought that she was going to get dragged out from under this
I did
thing. And
too.
she doesn't.
Nope.
It is very tense. And then the second you think she's going to get dragged out when she's doing those looking to the left or looking to the right, and you think, oh, there's going to be a jump scare here.
Yeah.
No jump scare.
Right. Yeah.
And that terrifies me because it heightens it up another level of scared.
Because what are they going to do?
Right.
You know they're going to do something.
Yeah. And what they do is a Jack in the Box.
It is, but it's
God,
super
you guys are
creepy.
so over dramatic right now. Also, Hooves and Chains is the name of my sex tape.
Ooh.
If you're both consenting adults, I'm
That's
into
true.
it.
It's Christmas Michael's sex tape.
All right, so the Jack in the Box is evilly opening up, and a tiny little evil clown opens up, and then she just starts screaming, and it cuts away.
Yeah.
She gets ejaculated.
Oh, wow. Can I leave that joke in?
I don't know. She gets pulled away by a Jack in the Box. We're trying to make a joke that's safe, so listeners,
But that
insert
actress
your
is too
own
young.
joke.
Yeah. Guys, here are the
Not for that
elements.
Santa.
Girl, box, Jack in the Box.
Yep.
You make the joke. That way it's on you.
Yep. If this is not your first episode, you probably know what we're thinking about. 'Cause we're
She dies. She's dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
the
All right.
Inception-esque ending aside, she does die here. 'Cause
Okay.
we don't see her again.
All I want to say is that Toni Collette has a horrible track record for keeping her daughters alive in movies.
Yep.
So it cuts back to the
Adam's-
house.
Yeah. And Adam Scott's dreamily looking out the window. And then Toni Collette, luckiest woman on earth, goes to sit down next to him. And he's saying there's nothing out there. All they can see is the blizzard. Beth should be home right now. But
Yes.
she puts her head on his shoulder and she says she misses us. And
Yeah.
that was really sweet.
I thought it was sweet too.
It is, man.
This is a sign that pretty much what he asked for in the letter is going to take place over the course of the rest of the movie.
Right.
But it's also going to take place at a time when everything's falling apart.
Exactly.
Everybody's
Yeah.
being murdered. Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
is kind of how life happens, you know?
Yeah.
Sometimes when you let go of that control, things work themselves out.
Oh, I thought you were trying to insinuate that as you die, you get what you want.
You make a good point, but then, they're also doing this as each of them gets murdered one by Christmassy things.
But I do like that we see the family, like we see these more human moments.
Yeah,
with
absolutely.
them. Once they've kind of let go of this idea of what Christmas is supposed to be, they start to kind of connect. And we see that with the sisters too,
Yes.
So Packer and Adam Scott now are driving in the Hummer to get Beth.
Right. They're just going to go look for her.
Right. And the grandma didn't want them to go. She was really scared. And she said in German a bunch, don't go.
Right. And more or less, we got to keep the fire hot and everyone has to stay here.
Right, exactly. And so they are going out in this jacked up, gunned up Hummer, and it's super snowy, and they see a snowplow. It is a snowplow.
It is a snowplow,
right?
yeah.
It's the orange light on top. The big thing to take away from this thing is that they're like, looks like he hit something and flew out the glass, the front. But they're like, no.
The glass is punched in.
Shit's fucked
Inside.
up. Yeah. So now we get a flashlight rifle. That's pretty cool. And we find out this Hummer, all their money is going into this Hummer and all the guns.
I'll just say this, Jen. It's a flashlight shotgun.
Oh, pardon me.
A rifle is very different from a shotgun.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yes.
You learn something new.
And he hands Adam Scott this like 357 Magnum. He's like, gee, you brought all these guns? And he's like, that's my wife's gun.
Yeah,
Which
that's
it's funny because it's like
Oh.
a huge gun.
It is. Yeah. I also hate the trope of like liberals not knowing how to hold guns. Do you see how he's
Right.
holding that gun like upside down? I hate that.
Right. Yeah, because you can have opinions about who should and should not have guns and still know how to operate a gun.
Liberals can also own guns.
Right,
Yeah.
and they do. So the back of the house, and Tony Collette and the mom are talking about the angel on top of the tree, and they hear a bunch of noises on the roof, and
They
they're saying,
do.
oh, it must be squirrels.
Right.
And the grandma's scared, and she keeps looking up the chimney. So now Adam Scott and Packer are back in the boyfriend's house, and it's winter hellscaped inside.
Yeah.
And there's a butcher knife through a gingerbread man on the fridge. But we're going to find out that probably saved someone's life.
Well, and Packer
Well,
even
not
says
really, because they're all dead.
Well, that's true.
that's true. Packer even says whoever did this is a sadistic person or whatever.
Sadistic motherfucker as he like chomps on the leg.
Yeah, he's eating the leg of the gingerbread man.
that gingerbread man looked good because it's not like thin.
It
was
looked
like
fluffy.
It was like
Yeah.
fluffy on the
Yeah,
inside.
it looked
That's what you
good.
Like
want,
a hard
man.
crust.
Yeah, man.
So now they see that the chimney is all fucked up too. It's been cracked open.
Must have been a gas
It
explosion.
must have been. And
Yeah.
there are giant hoof prints in the snow.
Right.
So now they're hearing screaming and they run out into the snow and something bites Packer's leg and pulls him under the snow.
This is 1000% the first scene in Jaws.
It's Snow Jaws.
It looks exactly like that. He gets pulled around like that girl in the first scene in Jaws. It
Yeah.
is Jaws.
But Adam Scott shoots the snow
Yes.
jaws.
Yeah.
And then it burrows away and he saves Packer's life.
Yeah, just like Han Solo saves Lando Calrissian from the Sarlacc pit, he shoots it. Am I hitting your nerd buttons just right, guys? I'm
Yeah,
so
keep
sorry.
going.
I had friends when y'all were watching high school.
No, I love Star Wars.
Yeah, I knew Mikey was on my side.
Yeah.
You were the one shaking your head.
Yeah, I was having sex while you guys were watching Star Wars.
Why am I the only one that gets shit on every time? You guys are like the worst.
That's the only pit you saw for a long time, huh?
Gross, Mikey.
Well,
Ew.
he's not wrong.
But now the car is destroyed, this giant Hummer, and I love it because he just says, Lucinda!
That's
like
the name of his Hummer.
imploring the heavens.
Yeah.
Imploring the heavens. So Tony Collette now wants to go find them.
Yeah.
But not so fast because they busted in. And so now Packer and Adam Scott, who's dreamily covered with snow, are walking in and explaining everything
Now,
that's
this
happening.
was Adam Scott's man up moment out there.
Oh, man.
So
Yeah.
he comes back and he's large and in charge, and Packard is like letting him make the decisions now.
Right. Because his legs got all fucked up.
Yeah, he's legit injured.
And Packard's freaking out a little bit, and then Adam Scott was like, "Don't, now's not the time."
Not
in
on
front of the
my
kids.
watch,
Yeah.
Packer.
Yeah.
So they send all the kids into the kitchen and they send the older women in there too.
Oh, I thought it was just the aunt.
It was the aunt and the grandma.
Oh, okay,
Because
okay.
you can't trust that aunt. She's going to get them all drunk.
She tries.
All right, and the mom grabs a huge hand axe.
A real axe. Which is,
It was a real axe.
just an
real
axe, everyone.
Please.
So
I know what a
pardon me.
hand axe is.
Welcome to our podcast. We know nothing about weapons.
Now the parents are making a plan. Packer doesn't have a lot of ammo, but Adam Scott thinks the best bet is to stay there.
Yeah.
And everyone in the kitchen overhears them. And I think this is kind of one of the moments where they're like, okay, look, we're all in on this plan together. We've got to just batten down and stop pretending everything's fine.
Yeah, absolutely. It is 100%. Let's do what grandma says. She says,
Right.
keep the fire hot, stay in that front room.
Right.
And that's what they do.
Yep, let's watch a movie.
On their iPad that has, just one charge on it. You can't charge it again.
Yeah. So Packer and Adam Scott are now talking and they're boarding up the windows.
Right.
And Packer is saying, thank you for saving my life. And I'm sorry, for all these years, I thought you were a spineless dick. And there's another terrifying snowman in the yard.
Yeah, like they're multiplying.
Now Max comes up and asks Adam Scott if they're all going to die. And he's like, well,
Maybe.
maybe.
Yeah.
So they're all asleep in the living room.
Yep.
And Silent Night is slowly playing. And the battery is at 1%. And the fire also is at 1%.
Yes.
Because it goes out.
Yeah. As Silent Night stops playing, the fire goes out enough that they can then be attacked.
Right. Yeah. And we start hearing giggling.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
This was so creepy.
This was creepy. Yeah. We're hearing giggling coming across the roof and then down the chimney. And then we see a big hook.
Yeah, it's like
descending.
Candyman.
Yeah. Until we start to see a
Right.
chain. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And then there's a little gingerbread guy just hanging out on that chain.
He's adorable.
He kind of is for
Yeah.
a moment. And so, of course, the kid, the brother who doesn't talk at all.
He's like,
No, let's just be honest with what happens here.
I smell a cookie.
This guy was a fat stereotype.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
Mikey,
they-
are you all right? You got real passionate right now.
It's kind of a dick move.
It kind of is. It's
What,
very
to make the fat
stereotypical.
kid be the one who gets killed by this?
Yeah.
Yeah,
The
it
fact,
is.
Yeah, and I feel like that's one of the tones in this movie that I don't love. I feel like it kind of leans in a little bit to the meanness of stereotypes, you know?
Like, I think one of the other kids should have died by this. Like, one of the younger ones. Like, the baby.
Yeah, I wanted one of the other kids. That would have made it better.
So let me just get you on the record as saying that you would rather the baby have died here.
I don't think it's possible for anyone else to grab at a gingerbread thing attached to a chain that's jiggling with giggles and be killed by it except for a baby.
But
like, if Cookie Monster was a character, he could die this way.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that would be okay?
Yeah, and they pretty much code the fat kid as Cookie Monster.
They do, yeah.
We know this bad idea, but me love Cookie.
So he goes and takes a bite out of this gingerbread cookie, and then the gingerbread's like,
It wakes up.
And
Yeah.
it comes alive, and it wraps the chain around him and pulls him up the chimney. And so this is when everybody starts to wake up, and Toni Collette goes and grabs his legs.
Because they hear the Marley and Marley chain as
They
he
do.
gets sucked up the chimney.
Whoa.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
Toni Collette runs over and grabs his legs, and then she starts to get sucked up the chimney, and then Adam Scott goes and grabs her legs
Yeah.
like a barrel of monkeys
Right.
as the family starts to grab everybody, and then they start to pull him out. It's like this wrestling back and forth.
Right.
And they eventually like get everyone except for the original boy who does get
Max.
taken. But also they kick a log out from the fire and the
Right.
tree catches on fire.
So now there's another distraction, and we can see a lot more clearly, too.
Right. And Max goes at Adam's behest to get a fire extinguisher.
Yeah.
And he puts out the fire.
Right.
That is Christmas.
And Toni Collette in the fireplace sees the gingerbread cookie alive.
Right,
Yes.
trying to like menace her in her face.
Man, I loved when they took the fat kid up the chimney and his dad goes up there and he's like, ah! And then his shoe hits the dad right in the face. I mean, I laughed.
But it's
Yeah.
also sad, too,
Yeah,
you know?
that kid fishing is sad.
Well, I mean, and
God.
his son's gone, too.
Yeah.
So now Grandma lights the fire again, and he's saying it's all of our faults, and it's coming for all of them. And then we get the Grandma flashback.
Yeah, and she starts speaking English in this
The
point.
Omi exposition done.
Thank God. Listen, I don't love subtitles.
So now we get the Grandma flashback.
Yes, and it's all like
It's-
interesting animation. I
Yeah.
didn't hate it.
I
Yeah.
kind of liked it too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's because it's an old timey village in probably Austria, I think. I don't know if they ever actually
Germany,
say.
it's post-war Germany. That's why
Yes.
it's all bombed out.
It is post-war Germany.
okay.
It reminded me of the Deathly Hallows scene from Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows when it goes to that animation style as they're explaining what the Deathly Hallows are. It reminds me of that same animation style,
Yeah,
same
it's-
cutaway to the past. It just felt like that to me, which I'm on board for. I liked
too.
it.
So anyway, Grandma said everybody, her village was post-war Germany, so they've lost their Christmas spirit. Also,
Right.
they did a lot of like war crimes.
Yeah, and they were rationing. Like the scene
were.
is her getting a loaf of bread and then the town sort of attacking her and taking
and
it from
taking
her.
Then she went
Yeah.
to her parents for Christmas stuff,
Right.
and her parents ripped up her Santa doll, so she wished everybody went away.
Right. And so she tore up the Santa Claus letter in her heart.
Right.
Right.
Yeah,
and then
and Krampus heard.
came. Yeah.
Right.
Krampus
Yeah.
came and took the whole village and killed everyone, and then left
Right.
the Krampus spell for her. And at the end, she pulls out a real Krampus spell, which
At
was
the end of the cutaway.
right,
Right.
which was pretty cool.
It
Right.
was.
Krampus had came to punish, not to give, but to take. And he and his helpers. And so we see kind of a little gingerbread man in the shadow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Some
and elves
elves,
and a lot of other things. Yeah.
And I like that we see him like this first. Like we haven't really gotten a clear shot of him yet. So she was the only one left, and they left her to be a reminder of what happens when hope is lost and when your Christmas spirit dies.
Right.
And Todd Packer's a dick about it, and he doesn't believe her. And he's
Well,
like,
in his defense, that's a pretty ridiculous.
Well, that's
I don't think I
true.
believe her either.
Right.
Yeah.
Toni Collette, she looks really weird, and she's like, Adam Scott's like, do you believe that story? And she's like, I don't know what I believe anymore because I saw some shit in that chimney.
I
Yeah.
do, yeah. Gingerbread man just tried to eat my face.
Yeah.
So Todd Packer is about to go out and try to get his son with his gun, but he goes out and like takes 2 steps, and there are terrible menacing snowmen around.
Yeah. There's a shitload of them.
There are also the little creepy snow crow builders behind
Yeah,
the
the
snowmen,
elves.
Those are the elves.
Yeah.
like menacing and being super creepy.
Yeah.
And Toni Collette pulls them all in and was like, "Don't open the fucking door."
Yeah, no one goes outside
And Adam Scott says, "We need to keep the fire hot," so he just stands next to it for the next hour.
because he's the
Lord.
hot Mikey.
All right, let me get the hose.
he kept
Admit
the
it.
fire hot in
He's
my
hot.
heart.
But
Woo!
anyway, at this point, this movie just goes batshit.
It's
It
it's
kind of
off
does,
the rails.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So So Adam Scott has a plan, and their plan is very similar to The Mist. They're going to try to get out to that snow plow.
Yes.
And then just plow through all the snow and follow behind until they can get to either a police station or the mall.
Right.
Because they've seen Dawn of the Dead.
Right.
And they've also seen The Mist, so they know they're just going to keep going until they
Right.
find somebody.
So Adam Scott's going to go to the plow, and they're going to follow behind in the car.
Because that's his name, man.
Mr. Plow.
Yeah. And so we've been seeing these presents, and they're starting to make these creepy noises.
Yes.
And so now Stevie and Jordan are walking upstairs, and I think they hear Howie, who was the brother that got sucked up.
Yeah,
the
I think they
chimney.
do.
They
yeah.
get a fat brother.
And so they get lured up there, and then we hear them screaming, and Toni Collette grabs an axe, and I guess they all grab their guns. And so they go upstairs, and they hear a bunch of weird noises, and for a while they're just walking around hearing weird noises and
With
looking
like
at
flashlights.
mysterious Christmas, but also evil stuff.
They got lured up to the attic.
They
Yes.
did get lured up to the attic, which was where the sister Linda had been looking at presents.
Well, it's also where Linda had taken the big sack of presents. Yeah, she was going to go rewrap the presents that were damaged by the fire.
Yeah.
So that's where those presents are. But those presents aren't presents. Those presents are evilness.
Evil, yeah, they're evil presents.
Right. So they're up there listening for the girls who are screaming, trying
They
to find
do.
out where they are. But once they get into the attic, you don't really hear that anymore. But you hear like creepy Jack in the Box music.
And
but we
weird
don't see
chewing
anything.
sounds.
Yes. Ugh.
Yeah, so-
Dude, when the Jack in the Box sits up and you see just feet of the girl going into the Jack in the Box throat, that weirded me out.
was
The Jack in the
really
Box was
gross.
terrifying.
Yeah.
Yes, because
Dude, the
it's now-
jaw?
Yeah, it's got a predator mouth. That's
Yes.
what it
Yeah.
reminds
Yes.
me of. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a giant Jack in the Box made of porcelain, but with a predator mouth that's eating this daughter.
It's like a
Gross.
snake because it's got
Yeah.
the little box, the big body, and then the big head with the big mouth.
Yeah, and he's just kind of like working the rest of the daughter through. Oh, it's terrible. And so Adam Scott shoots it. Now, a lot of this is going kind of back and forth. So
Right.
I'm going to talk about the Todd Packer thing because I really like this part.
Packer is still downstairs and he hears some foolishness happening in the kitchen.
He does.
So he walks over there. No, he doesn't hear anything. He gets shot in the leg 4 times by a nail
With
gun.
nails.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he is like chased around by 3 gingerbread men who were like shooting at him with a nail gun
This
in
would
the
be
kitchen.
my preferred antagonist in a
Gingerbread
film.
men?
Yeah.
They
I
were
mean-
pretty great, man.
Yeah.
I mean, I would eat the shit out of them. So I would like take one, bite its head off,
Yeah.
spit out the pieces of its head onto the other gingerbread men, and be like, "I eat a lot, and I am your new god."
Yeah.
What if it shoots with a nail gun?
Well, they ran out of nails.
They did. They only had one clip. I really wanted one of them to do the Shrek line of "Eat me." I love that line in Shrek. Anyway, so he eventually is like down in the corner. He has a wood cutting board in front of his face.
Right.
And these nails are like sticking into it. And then he hears them not be able to shoot anymore. So he starts to like pull his shotgun out and he shoots them and he hits something that explodes.
He hits one of their heads and explodes.
Yeah, I
but
think-
then the other one is Power Move jumping at him with a candy cane shiv.
Yes.
To stab him right in the Christmas, and then
Oh boy.
I don't know. But then saved by the dog, Rosie.
Yeah. A whole lot of Rosie takes a whole lot of bite out of that
And he does.
gingerbread man.
Yeah, and we don't even see it. We just notice that he doesn't get stabbed, and then
Yeah.
there's the dog just sitting pretty
like-
over there. Yep. Thanks.
I relate
Rosie.
to that. I think my dog would tear the crap out of that stuff.
Yeah, your dog would have saved you from all the gingerbread men.
Any creature, really.
Yeah. Any edible creature
Yeah.
is toast.
Or if it's not edible, you just throw it up half an hour later. My dog eats a lot of stuff.
She is insane.
Yeah.
Well, so now we're back in the attic, and we look. There's just a bunch of chaos going on, and we look up, and there's a gigantic clay angel on the ceiling.
And she attacks Toni Collette.
She does,
Like jumps
yeah.
on her.
And this is one of the most scary parts of the movie for me, I think, because
I didn't love it.
things are just right in her face. And there's also a huge teddy bear with really sharp teeth.
It becomes Five Nights at Freddy's. If you've
Yeah.
seen that, it's like stuffed animals attacking things that are like evil stuffed animals.
Yeah.
It looks like that. I hate it. I
Yeah.
couldn't play that game, man.
So Linda's getting attacked by a teddy bear. I haven't seen it. Is it a movie?
It's a video game. It's
Oh,
like
okay.
a kid's game.
how dare you shame me?
I mean, it's a kid's game.
I can't play scary games.
Oh. So Linda is getting attacked by the teddy bear. Toni
Yes.
Collette is getting attacked by the gigantic angel. And then Adam Scott gets stabbed by this evil looking transformer type thing,
Yeah.
which I kind of liked too.
Multiple times.
Yeah.
Like he is getting shivved in the back by a transformer for the better part of a minute.
But not too
Right.
deep.
No, I mean, there's
Just a tip.
shallow
Yeah.
cuts.
Yeah, just a tip.
And so
so he can't get pregnant.
Right.
Yeah.
jeez.
That's scientific fact.
It
Jen.
is. So Linda is looking over and this bear's on top of her and she turns over and she sees her other daughter laying on the ground and then she gets her mom strength and she flips over on this bear and stabs it in the eye.
She goes all Mama Bear style.
She
stab
does.
her in the eye.
Mama Bear
Yeah.
takes out the evil bear.
Yes.
Yeah. And then she gets the gun and she shoots whatever is trying to menace Toni Collette because she's been strung up by the neck with Christmas
Right,
lights.
yeah.
And she's hanging from the attic
Yeah,
rafters.
she cuts her down as she runs to the daughter and saves Adam Scott too. She saves everybody.
She
Yeah,
does.
she goes
saves
badass
everybody.
and saves everybody, except she can't get the Jack-in-the-Box.
She can't get the Jack-in-the-Box because it's crawled through a vent. In
Yeah,
the
like an
house.
air vent.
Right, exactly.
This house has the biggest air vents, by the way.
Right.
But she does go to her other daughter, who is just
Yes.
she coughs up some liquid. It's like a green liquid.
She does. It's
And-
Christmas liquid.
Yes, you all know what Christmas liquid
Of
is.
course,
Yeah.
listeners. And so they're all okay and they're all like relaxing, but not so fast because the evil Transformer's still there. So Toni Collette has to die hard shoot it.
And she does.
She does.
I love the look they share.
I do too, because
Toni
Adam
Collette
Scott
and
is
Adam Scott.
into it.
Yeah, he's like, ooh.
Yeah.
You want to die hard me?
Yeah.
So we're back in the living room, and now we're hearing noises on the roof. And what they're saying is, we boarded all these windows up, so now this Jack-in-the-Box is stuck.
And the Jack-in-the-Box is stuck, and they
Right.
release Rosie into the air vent.
They do.
And we hear like madness happening in the air vent, and I think Rosie dies.
I
Yeah,
think
they're all
Rosie
dead.
might die.
Yeah, because we don't see Rosie again, and we do hear
don't.
what sounds sort of like whimpering.
Exactly, yeah.
And then the Jack-in-the-Box falls through the ceiling.
But it's still going to fuck you up because it's not dead yet.
No, it's not.
But before that, Packer says your favorite line.
Oh, yeah. Because Packer's like, what happened up there? And she's like, you don't want to know. And he's like, I just got my ass kicked by Christmas cookies. Believe me, I can handle it.
Right.
And honestly, if you would come at me and I had been like an actor that had done famous shit, and if you had told me I got to say that in the movie, I would have said yes to it.
Oh, yeah.
That and shoot all Santas on sight. I'd be in that shitbag movie
Look,
if I got to say that.
I'm writing a new Christmas horror movie.
Called Shoot All Santas
Is it called
on Sight.
Shoot All Santas on sight?
It's called Shoot All Santas on
I'm
Sight.
in.
Oh, geez.
Sign me up. I'll play whatever character you want me to say, as long as I get to say the
Or
title
just,
of the
I'm just
movie.
in the outline stages right now, but
All right, well.
I'll keep you updated.
I'll get you the first 30 pages.
Yeah.
So there's like chaos because the bear's now back in play.
Yeah, I mean,
And-
all of the animals that were
Right.
attacking them upstairs,
But they're downstairs now.
yeah, the
Yeah.
Hell Angel, the Five Nights at Freddy's bear, the Jack-in-the-Box are
Right.
now wreaking havoc down there.
So Aunt Dorothy just shotguns them both and kills them, and she's about to finish it with the Jack-in-the-Box,
yeah.
I think, but not so fast because it's elf time.
Yes.
And they hear a bunch more noise.
I do love when Aunt Terrible shoots the angel, it goes right into the wreath. I love that.
I did too, yeah.
And that's just one of those things where, like, I'm not sure if it's supposed to be funny, or if it's supposed to be scary. It's
Right.
like in this weird middle ground that I don't think absolutely works.
Right.
It's not bad, though.
And so they hear a horn because the elves are coming in and they start menacing everybody. They pick up the baby and run out the window with the baby.
They literally break down the window
Uh-huh.
into that front living room.
No one really freaked out that they took the baby.
The
No,
mom
they do. The
She's,
mom is like
screaming
reaching
like,
out for
"My
her baby. But
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Packer is like sort of holding her back because if she moves up too much, he'll move up and get stabbed by the elves.
Right, and that's kind of what happens because
Yeah.
he gets sucked out the window too. Aunt Dorothy's got chains around her; she gets pulled out the window.
Yeah. Aunt Dorothy's exit out that window was like slapstick funny. She may as well just said, "See you now, motherfuckers," and like,
Right.
Right.
and it even makes like the whoop sound effect as she gets pulled out.
And it reminded me of Gremlins when she goes out the window in that chair.
Yeah.
You know?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Except not as fun.
Almost as fun.
I love that death, man.
Almost got there.
Gosh, so good.
All right, and so now they hear a horn. And all the elves run out.
Yes.
And so their plan now is they're going to get to the snowplow. But they hear a big bang, which may or may not be the Plow King coming, except it's not because it's up on the housetop that's playing.
Right.
Yeah, and they're getting their coats on and everyone's holding on to each other and they open the door and they walk out, but not everyone. Grandma stays because she's got to face down Krampus.
She tells Max, be good.
And she closes the door and they start to beat on the door like they're trying to go back and get her.
Yeah.
I guess forgetting that the window that's 2 feet to their left is completely broken down.
Right.
And you could just walk in that
Yeah,
window.
that part didn't really work.
So Grandma's walking back to the fireplace about to make her final stand against Krampus and reclaim her childhood.
And this is where you see Krampus come down the chimney.
You do.
Yeah.
And I love how they reveal this too. I think it looks really cool because the fireplace starts to crack and then we slowly see his claws and then we see his horns coming out from over the top of the chimney and then he climbs out of the chimney and he's like this old hunched man-faced goat.
He looks like a demon wearing a human Santa face.
Yeah.
You might say a mask because the mouth is just hanging agape and never moves.
Yeah. And that's the only part of Krampus I don't love is that, and I kind of wish it had been more like the Muppets Christmas Carol where you can't really see his face, you know?
That'd be cool. Yeah.
I actually really liked it. I thought it was creepy.
I thought it was really creepy.
I
think it's
too.
effective. I just don't like the imagery of a face hanging open.
I'm not crazy about the face, but everything else I loved.
So they are now going to enact the plan of Adam Scott going to get the bulldozer and then plowing out of town.
They are, because Grandma has gotten sacked by Krampus.
Yeah. Now Adam Scott and all the rest of the people that are surviving at this point are running for the plow.
The snow plow.
The snow plow. And they run into Snowjaws.
They do, yeah. And Adam Scott says, "Go on ahead. I'll face down Snowjaws on my own, and I'll Snowjaws myself to let you go."
Right. And he has a very touching moment with his wife.
He does,
And then he shoots Snowjaws enough that they can get away, and then he gets sucked into the snow.
But he closes his eyes for just a minute and accepts his fate, and it's really sad.
It is really sad. Dude, the shot of him getting sucked into the snow is ominous.
I know. Yeah, and this was the moment I think the first time I watched it where I was like, fuck, they're going to kill everyone in this family.
And everyone
Shit.
does die.
They do, yeah. And so he's let them get away, but just for a second, because as soon as they get to the snowplow, Aunt Linda gets pulled down into the snow too.
Yeah.
And she's like, go away, go away. And then the mom, Toni Collette, gets pulled down.
Yeah, everyone gets pulled in. And then you're just like, okay, well, there's like a 14-year-old girl and a 12-year-old boy, and they can't get the truck started because they don't know how to drive automatic. They don't, well, he says, I can't drive stick. And I think you were like, can you drive at all? You're like 12.
A car, let alone a snowplow.
Right.
Yeah. Well, so, of course, the snowplow doesn't go anywhere.
Right. And then they get pulled out by the elves.
They do.
The elves all attack the car.
Yeah. And so now it's just Max.
And then Krampus comes and he presents Max with his bell.
Yep.
Wrapped in
Yep.
his note that he ripped up.
Yeah, it's a real power move.
It is.
And we hear voiceover from Grandma saying he left me as a reminder of what happens when the Christmas spirit dies, implying that he's going to let Max survive. But that's not how Max's story is going to end on his watch.
Yeah, Max runs after Krampus.
He does. He runs into their snow sacrifice circle or something.
Something like that.
They were loading up the Krampus's sled. And then,
that's the sled.
That's what he's doing. So the elves are they're all packing up their shit. And and then Max comes, throws his bell and says, "Hey, assholes."
Right. Give me back my family.
Yeah.
And he throws the Krampus bell at Krampus, but Krampus is not going to have it because the ground now starts to open up.
It opens up where the bell is.
Sucked into the snow.
Yeah.
And it turns into the mouth of hell.
It does.
Yeah, and Krampus is standing on top of it just laughing evilly. Yeah. And so
Just like
Max so Max walks up with a stick and he says, "Please, I know you can fix this." And he says, "Take me instead." And then Krampus, we get like a real close up on his red eyes, and he does the Terminator 2 thing where he takes his claw and he like picks up his tear and he says, "I know now why you cry."
That's not what he says.
It's not what he says.
He laughs in his fucking face.
Yeah.
So doesn't he throw the other girl off into the hell first?
Yes, he does. Well,
yeah.
he doesn't,
well, now
but his
that's what
elves
he does.
do. Yeah.
He starts laughing. He's like, "Fuck your apology."
Yeah, he's like,
You're
"Wrap it
all
up,
going to
boys."
hell." Yeah.
And they throw her real quick.
Right. And then he picks Max up and he's holding him over hell. And Max says, he apologizes again. He said, "I just wanted Christmas to be like it used to be." And then drops him into hell.
And he gets gollumed into hell.
Yeah, I was thinking of Hans Gruber.
And that's what he gets for living in the past.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because Christmas is never going to be like it used to be, because like it used to be is a memory and you're in the present right
Yeah.
now.
And also, when you look back on events in your life, you might remember them better than they actually were.
Exactly. Yeah. Now, I will say, I think what he wanted was his family to be kind to each other and to love each other and for some of these problems to be solved.
Yeah, what an asshole.
Exactly. I know, man.
dick.
That note was so sweet. Man.
It was super
That was
sweet.
so
yeah.
sweet.
Yeah.
Max is great.
So you
He
think
is.
the movie's over, but
But not so fast, because we see a white screen and then we zoom in and it's Max's room, not destroyed by Krampus, and he falls out of bed.
Yeah.
And he looks out his window and he sees that there's snow all over the place, but not in a weird evil way.
and
No.
his neighbors are there.
No evil
Right,
snowmen.
right.
Everyone's there. Yeah.
Yeah, and
So
they-
he goes downstairs.
And they're all sitting around the Christmas tree, and it's just this really happy scene.
Yeah, they're
Must
being
have just
nice
all
to each
been a
other.
dream,
They
Todd.
are.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like they've learned all the lessons of the movie and
Yep.
can now continue their life with Happy Christmas.
And
you
they're
know?
just opening presents, and Max is hugging his mom and his dad.
They
and
got hot chocolate.
yeah,
you know,
because
what-
hot chocolate makes everything better.
It does, and it did.
But Max opens his gift, and it turns out that it's the Krampus bell.
It is. Dun, dun, dun.
What?
And then everybody starts looking at the bell and starting to look concerned. And we hear everybody's voiceovers about like everything that they had said from all the things before.
And the way they are looking makes it look like they can hear their own voiceovers. It's very strange.
I thought it was trying to like show that they're all remembering what happened.
Right.
And then the grandmother we're hearing say he came not to give but to take.
Yeah.
And then we hear more Christmas music. Santa Claus is coming to town, but it's ominous because they all have that look on their face.
Yeah. And then it starts to zoom out.
Yep.
And you realize that this is the last episode of the TV show Saint Elsewhere. And it all took place inside a fucking snow globe.
Are there trapped? Well, it's in Krampus is putting a snow globe.
Oh,
on the
yeah.
shelf.
I mean, they're trapped in the snow globe.
Yeah.
But from the time the storm came up, they've been in a snow globe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, there are a couple of different interpretations of that, and we can talk about that. But
Are there? Okay.
Yeah, and I'll link an article with a couple
cool.
of them, too. But so, yeah, they're all collected in the snow globe of Krampus's lair, and then we back out, and then more of the toys jump out as a last little scare, which I kind of liked.
It is sort of campy and fun.
It is,
silly,
and it's not really a stinger trying to scare you. I think it's just a, hey, here's all our toys.
Yeah.
you know?
Right.
And that's the movie.
And that's the movie.
Roll credits.
Yeah. So having talked about it, what did you guys think about it?
I really liked it. I still feel the same way. I loved it.
I think the ending ruined it for me.
I just don't think it's scary, and it's not funny. It's like in this weird middle ground that I just didn't love.
I think they had that theme problem, and then I think the end was too just either dark. It didn't fit with. It's just like the rest of the problems. Like if they had an ending of like they all remember what happened, and so they like learned their lessons, and then like continued with their perfect Christmas day, and they're like, well, that was crazy. Like knowledge
Right.
it happened, and then moved on. But instead, it's like we're trapped in a snow globe forever, blah blah blah. So then I didn't really feel that met the theme. I don't know. I just feel like it didn't work. It just didn't. All the pieces didn't click for me.
Yeah.
and it bothers me still.
It's like that puzzle that gets torn out quite a little bit wrong and the pieces just don't quite fit together. But so did you guys interpret the ending that they are stuck in the snow globe hell forever?
Yes.
So I've heard that interpretation and I can see it, but
I mean, that's what the movie shows you.
well, kind of, but I mean, I think you could also look at it as this like snow globe is like the portal and Krampus is going to keep watching them to see if they actually have learned their lesson.
Oh, so it's like the doors in Monsters, Inc.
So maybe they do remember, and so they've learned their lesson about how to be better to each other. So that's kind of how I choose to see it.
That's a better interpretation.
I like it better too. Like that would
Yeah.
make me like the movie
Just wish the film showed me that.
more. Me too.
Well, but I think that's one of those things where it's kind of like you could really see it either way,
Yeah.
if you choose to. And I also don't get super hung up about exactly what was shown, and I kind of interpret things the way that I want to interpret them.
Really, you do that?
And I'm also not really one to second guess movies. You know, I don't tend to say, well, I wish they would have done that and I would have liked it better if it. I kind of just look at it as what it is. But I mean, yeah, I liked it. I like the ending a lot. And I think I like it if they have learned a lesson, you know?
Yeah, and I'll say that I didn't hate this movie at all. I thought
Yeah.
it was a decent movie. It wasn't super scary. There were funny parts to it, so I sort of enjoyed that element of it. So it's not like a horror movie that I hate because I'm supposed to hate it because I'm scared of everything. But there were still scary elements. It just doesn't hit the Christmas comedy horror
Yeah.
like Gremlins does.
Right.
Like, because that just nails it.
Yeah.
And it's just like, it feels like it almost gets there and doesn't.
Well, so if you've seen the movie Trick or Treat, it's written and directed by the same person, Michael Dougherty. And so that movie, it's got a lot of similar elements and kind of a fun holiday theme to it with just a
Right.
lot of horror in it. But because Halloween can be a darker holiday, I feel like it works. But because they're trying to add in the Christmas heartwarming family elements, I feel like that doesn't always work with the harsh, everybody in your family's murdered and a bear just ate you kind of thing. You know?
I mean, I feel like Rare Exports even does this kind of stuff better. Walking
agree.
this line,
Yeah.
because they like lean heavy into the horror elements and like take it seriously, but also have like the family comedy stuff a little bit.
Yep.
And I think if you don't take, I think you either go super goofy Tucker and Dale style, or you have to like really lean into the horror stuff.
Yeah.
And it just the pieces just don't fit.
I feel like they went for a weird middle ground that didn't land for
Yeah.
me, but I didn't hate the movie.
I really enjoyed it a lot
Yeah.
more. I think it's going to start making its way into my rotation more now because I think once I can like let go of the things that don't quite work for me, I can really enjoy the things that do.
And there's a lot to enjoy in it.
there really is, yeah.
I wish I could date like that.
There's a lot to enjoy in you, Mike.
I meant letting go of other people.
Oh, my bad. Sorry. Well, let's talk box office real quick.
All right.
So what do you think the budget was for this movie?
15 million.
$15,000,001.
So you knew, I guess?
Oh, I might have known.
It was
Yeah,
15 million.
sorry.
Yeah. So Jen either cheated or incredibly guessed. So
I'm going to go with incredibly guessed. That's
Yeah.
how I'm choosing to interpret.
Right. So it is $15 million budget. And in its first weekend out, it made $16.2 million.
Nice.
So it made its money back in the first weekend.
Well, that's good.
It ended up making $61 million worldwide.
Nice.
In its first day out on the Friday it was released, it was the top movie at the box office.
Oh, yeah?
It got beat the whole weekend by Hunger Games Mockingjay Part 2. So in its first weekend out, it was second.
When I was trying to look up fun facts, I didn't see a ton written about it because I think it did do well when it opened, but then it got panned a lot, and that's why I didn't go see it. And I think there were a couple of years where people were not really into it, but now I think it's kind of starting to make a comeback,
I mean, it made its money back.
Yeah.
$61 million on a $15
That's true.
investment. Even if they spent another $15 million promoting it, they made double its budget back. So
That
it did
Adam
fine.
Scott, man.
Yeah, he's dreamy. But yeah, that's box office. Let's talk about some fun facts,
Some
Jen.
fun fact. So all of the monsters in this movie, I'm pretty sure it's all of the monsters were done by practical effects.
I can see that.
Pretty cool.
It's good.
It wouldn't surprise me
Except
if
for the gingerbread man.
gingerbread man were not, just because I
What?
imagine that would.
But they're completely
They're not
CGI.
real?
Yeah.
Those aren't real?
Now I don't know that for sure, but those were the CGI.
They look
looking.
super fake.
They were
Right.
definitely CGI.
Now I still loved them and found them delightful.
Yeah.
So all of the other ones were made using practical effects, and they hid all of them from the actors until their big reveal moments, kind of like they did in Alien, so that they would have more of a scared look. And I think it was pretty effective.
I think it was.
Yeah. So when they were they made Trick or Treat, and he had written or had an idea for Trick or Treat 2, but he also had this idea for Krampus. And so he went to his production company and he was talking to them. And he said, hold on, Krampus is in the public domain and somebody's going to snatch this idea up. So let's go ahead and do Krampus and then we'll get to Trick or Treat 2 later. All that to say, there are plans for Trick or Treat 2. I
Cool.
just don't know when that's happening. And I'm super excited about that because I love that movie.
Yeah, I like Sam from that movie.
I do too.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Apparently, there's a point where his little lollipop that's the weapon was in this. I didn't catch it,
Fair
but
enough.
I think it was there.
Cool.
So, one of the snow globes in Krampus's snow globe portal layer, one of them was the Psycho House.
Really?
And one of them was a replica of Michael Dougherty's own house.
Oh,
That's
nice.
cool.
Yeah, which was fun when you can throw that kind of stuff in there. The Gingerbread Men, Clumpy and Dumpy, and I'm not sure what the other one was named, but they were voiced by Seth Green,
Oh,
who
yeah.
I love, and Justin Roiland.
No shit from Rick and Morty. Nice.
Mhm.
Okay,
and I
cool.
added that in for you because I know you love
well,
that
thank
show. Yeah. This was originally going to be released at the end of November, but it got bumped back a weekend to coincide with Krampusnacht. So it was released on December 4th.
I'm going to say this. It got pushed back because Hunger Games Mockingjay Part 2 came out the last weekend in November.
Well, that's
and they didn't want to
probably
compete
part
with
of it,
that.
too.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
But it was just a fun coincidence. So I have some fun facts about Krampus, and
Okay.
I'm going to link some of these too. Krampus is from Austria and German-speaking Alpine regions, and he is a folkloric myth, kind of like our Santa Claus. And December 5th is Krampusnacht, which I imagine is Krampus night.
Right.
December 6th is St. Nicholas Day. And so Krampus comes on December 5th and fucks a bunch of shit up. He leaves bundles of sticks for bad kids. He beats them with the sticks. He puts them in sacks and throws them in the river. He eats
God.
them and he takes them to hell.
All right.
So if you survive Krampus night, you get presents in your shoe on St. Nicholas Day.
Well, there you go.
And there are also parades of grown men dressing up like probably what I imagine the elves in this movie looked like. And they'll just like go around and like beat people with sticks and switches. And it gets pretty
All
violent
right.
sometimes. Yeah, it was a little strange. But if that's your tradition, hey, and if you're a listener from Germany and Austria and you know a little bit more about this, reach out because we'd love to hear it because I think it's really interesting.
Or just you have German or Austrian heritage and your family
Exactly.
still talks about this kind of stuff.
yeah, you got an Omi.
My family's from Germany, and
Really?
I've heard of Krampus from forever, but I don't really know much about it. I just know that he
either.
exists and stuff like that.
But so I'm going to link all of that stuff. And I just want to say, too, when I'm talking about linking stuff, we put these links in the show notes of our episodes. And usually on Tuesday and Wednesday, I put out a link thread on Twitter with lots of these kind of
She does really hard work on that, so you guys should check that out.
Yeah, but if you guys
should.
don't want to wait till Tuesday or Wednesday for that link thread on the socials, you can get that the day the episode drops
You can.
from the episode info
Yeah.
on your podcast app.
But it won't be surrounded by my delightful Twitter jokes.
Absolutely.
Exactly,
So,
yeah.
yeah. All right. And those are my fun facts, guys.
Well, thank you for your fun facts,
Well,
Jen.
you're very welcome.
All right, well, let's do the scary scale, Jen.
All right. Hey, listeners, our scary scale is a scale we use to rank how scary we thought the movie was. It's not the quality of the film, it's how scared we were tonight when we watched it. Our 1 example is Ghostbusters. Our 10 example is Texas Chainsaw Massacre. All right, Todd.
I'll give it a 3.
All right.
I thought there were some scary elements and very creepy moments, but it wasn't super scary. But yeah, a 3.
Okay.
Mikey?
I'll give it a 1.
Yeah.
All right.
As I further die inside,
I was
things
just
are
gonna
less,
say, 'cause
less
Mikey's dead
scary and
inside.
scary.
Yeah.
What about you, Jen?
I'm gonna I think I might give it a 3 too.
Okay.
Yeah, there are some very creepy elements that I really like, but yeah, overall, I think it's more fun scary than like gonna stick with me scary.
Yeah, this
you
is
know?
not going to stick with me.
Yeah.
So this week, the listeners made me watch Krampus.
Uh-huh.
What are you guys making me watch next week?
Well, next week we are gonna watch a delightful treat. I'm excited. We are watching Anna and the Apocalypse.
Is this the musical?
It is the musical.
Yeah,
I know.
all right,
So
good.
this is our second Christmas musical in a row.
I'm super excited.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah,
no.
let's do it. Mikey.
Now I haven't seen this. Have you seen it?
No.
No, I'm really excited.
We'll all be virgins.
I know. We're gonna be Anna and the Apocalypse virgin.
I love it.
There's like a 3,000 listeners.
No, it's not like that at all. Stop winking, guys. I'm not happy with where this is going.
So, guys, watch Anna and the Apocalypse for next week.
So thank you so much for listeners that requested this. And I also want to let you know the way that you can request movies and vote on them is by becoming a patron. And all levels can suggest the movies that we vote on as well as vote on them. So
Yes.
if you want to be part of that, we're probably going to have the next one coming out pretty soon. So be
Yeah,
on the
for
lookout.
January.
Yep. And we post a lot about it. So if you're following us on socials, you can't miss it.
Yeah, you'll see it.
So thank you for participating.
Yeah, thank you so much. All right, guys. So, again, it is time for Mikey to prove
Practice
that
his
he can
reading
read.
skills.
I can do this.
So, this week, it's actually a short one, but I liked it.
Okay.
So, we're going to read it. It's the title of it is Perfection.
Headless Fred 13 says, OMG, this is the bed. Fucking
Oh, my God. Really?
OMG,
Wow.
this is the best podcast ever.
That's
Oh,
Then
thanks.
signs it Freddie Q-Ger.
it. Freddie
Oh.
Kuger.
Yeah, right?
I liked
Cool.
it.
I love it. Thank
Yeah.
you.
5 stars.
It's very sweet.
I thought it was great. Well, thank you so much for that awesome 5-star review. And guys, if you would like us to read your 5-star review, leave us a 5-star review. Not only does it help people find the show, it'll also get you on the podcast by
It
us
might.
reading your review.
Yeah, and it just is nice to hear feedback.
It is.
It
Thank you
makes us
so
feel
much.
good, yeah.
Yes, thank you.
So thank you.
So we remember the Modern Horrors Podcast Network.
Yes,
So if
we
you
are.
guys are listening to us in their feed, awesome. You can also listen to us in our feed and get the show 2 days earlier on Monday instead of Wednesday. But
Yeah.
if you're listening in their feed, you're going to get the Modern Horrors Podcast. Imagine that. Also, the lovely Final Girls and Death, Dying, and Other Things. So
Yeah.
check out those great podcasts as well. If you want to follow us on socials, we are at Horror Virgin. Jen is at Jen Ferratu. I am at Todd J. Awesome. And Mikey is at M. Randolph 24. You can check us out on the webs at horrorvirgin.com, where you can get Jen's awesome blog and links to the merch and stuff like that. So check that out as well. And if you guys can help financially support the show, please do by going to patreon.com/horrorvirgin. Got a lot of great levels and a lot of great things.
Yeah.
And you guys are going to help us buy a lot of great things
We are.
to help the podcast sound better.
Yeah.
If you hear the occasional pop or click or like little water sounds,
Sorry,
that's the stuff we're
guys.
trying to get rid of.
Right.
But, that requires a much more professional setup. So we've been
does.
saving up for a few months. Hopefully we'll be
Yeah.
getting that shortly.
And we've got some ideas for some stuff.
For some new stuff. Yeah, in January. Look for a few announcements in January. That'll
Yeah.
be very exciting. Yes.
Yeah.
And if you want a bunch of free content that is sort of exclusive to a group or family, you might say, join the...
Or face.
Right. Wait, what? Oh, yeah, Facebook. Yeah, join the Facebook group at facebook.com/groups/horrorvirgin. Or, we link it pretty much once a week.
We do,
So
yeah.
if you see it, click on it from there and then join from there. It's great. There's
It
like
is.
500 people in there. It's awesome.
Yeah. But yeah, they're doing like a secret Krampus exchange.
Yeah, it's awesome.
We do like daily questions of the day. It is really like a really active community.
It
and
is.
we interact a lot in it too.
Every day.
Yeah.
So guys, check it out.
Check it out. So guys, that's it from us, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah,
thank you,
thank
listeners,
you.
for requesting and voting on this movie. We had a lot of fun with it.
We did.
There's some presents in the corner that are making some weird sounds. So
I'm leaving
I think
right
we need
now.
to get
I
out of
brought
here.
I'm out. We'll enjoy them.
I just wrapped
Todd's
up the
about
cat.
to elf style bust through the window. So. I'm Jen.
I'm Mikey.
And I'm your horror virgin Todd, guys.
Have an amazing Christmas.
Bye.
Bye.
Krampus nerds.
Krampus nerds.
You guys are the nerds. Look at stupid choir stuff.
Yeah, I had sex on Krampus night.